What is going on out there, peeps? All right, there's a lot of excitement going on, and I understand why, but just be careful. Look, there is a lot of chitter chatter going out there. You got one group of people talking about somebody has the magical codes to release the exchange. Yeah, okay, you got another one saying they got magical numbers that are helping them along with voices from God. Then you have other people claiming that they have a person who works within the White House. Whoa, good Lord, man. I've been bombarded by all of those above yesterday. And people are saying, what do you think? What do you think? And I say, well, the one thing about the dinar community is this: people will say just about anything to keep you interested in what they have to say. Just be careful. Now, having said that, another person said that Mike Pompeo was rumored to have told Iraq to change their rate. I have not seen that out there. But if it is, that's all fine and dandy, even if he did say that. That's exciting, of course it is. But until Iraq's recognized for their sovereignty and they have an international recognized currency again, it doesn't do us a lot at all. We need them to be recognized. We need their sovereignty back so that we can go down to the bank. If I go down to my bank right now, Wells Fargo, they would not take at all. They would not take the Iraqi dinar because it's still on a restricted list because they don't have their own sovereignty yet. So that's important for us. Now, there is one bank, if you're lucky to have a Chase Bank by you, they might go ahead and exchange it once the rate change has happened, okay? But for the most part, the vast majority of the people won't be able to do that without chasing down a Chase Bank, no pun intended. Okay? So anyways, look, let's just get into this really quick as a quick reminder. Once again, everybody, thank you. Yesterday I did reach 18,000 subscribers and it's still climbing today. I appreciate that. I just wanted to say thank you one more time here real quick. As we continue to go forward, we do have Pimpy's Investment Chat. It is a Facebook group. That's the same name as my YouTube channel. And we talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrency. So come on over. It's free to do so. The link is in the description. We also have another group called The Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes. This covers more on current events as well as what some people will call, conspiracy things, 9/11, false flag events, stuff like that. So it's free to join. The links for both are in the description. So, yes, there was a ton of news yesterday because Sunday for Iraq is their Monday. Okay, so let's get crack-lacking on these because most of them are going to touch on what we've been saying that needs to happen. So, the President Saleh and Talibani stressed the importance of resolving the files between the region and the federal government. So, this is good. Again, this is Kurdistan in Iraq still meeting every day, trying to nail out all the agreements and get rid of all the issues that they have between the two of them. And so they could get, this is important for Iraq. This is part of what the United Nations wants to make sure that they do. Kurdistan did agree to send them 250,000 barrels of oil a day. And in exchange, Iraq was going to have to pay for the salaries of the employees, amongst other things. Okay, so good. They're still meeting. This is good. So, headed by Talibani, a Kurdish delegation arrived in Baghdad to discuss several files with the Al-Qademi. Nice brief sentence. There you go. Happy Flag Day for all of us. Finance Minister International Monetary expressed willingness to support Iraq and discussions next week. So this is good because for those of you who don't remember, like it was a few months ago, Iraq was turning to the IMF as well as the World Bank looking for loans, and they were told no. You guys, it's not going to happen. We're not going to lend you any money. They were concerned about the protesters, and there was no stability in the country, and so they were turned down. So it looks like now the IMF is reconsidering this, which is good. Keep in mind the United States does control the vast number of shares that the IMF have. Therefore, they control the IMF. The Minister of Finance, Alawi, announced positive discussions between the Energy Cell for Financial Reform and the International Monetary Fund. The IMF has indicated its willingness to provide support to Iraq and the Iraqi team. The follow-up discussions next week. See, this is how it's exciting what's going on. I get why people's energy levels are high. And I tell people to calm down. They go, "You must not have any faith." No, it's not that. That's not it at all. I think it's getting ready to happen, to be quite honest with you. What I'm saying is all this stuff about, having codes that will unlock the rate, or having, this White House intel, or, having God talk to you with magical numbers. That kind of stuff is just way out there in left field for me. If you believe in it, more power to you. I'm just saying it seems ridiculous. You can't jump from one thing to the next, keep saying that this thing is actually going to happen. This thing is going to actually happen, because it's just, what is it? Make up your mind. Is it numbers, voices, or insider? I got a CBI insider. Okay, yeah, well, CBI insider is lying to you. The point being, pay attention to what's happening in the news. That's way more important. Okay? Parliament hosts the U.S. negotiating delegation to find out the ambiguity surrounding the dialogue. So, the Iraqi Parliament Security and Defense Committee announced today, Sunday, that it has submitted an official request to host the Iraq delegation negotiation with the United States to reveal what was described as ambiguity in the strategic dialogue. This is ambiguity in the strategic dialogue between Baghdad and Washington, especially as the joint official statement was brief and did not give details of everything that happened during the dialogue and negotiations, the committee member told the news. Yeah, I would imagine everything is pretty hush-hush, because they probably have some leakers, or they just don't want to go over all the details, and we know the talks are continuing. So the Secretary of Defense Committee in the Iraq Parliament agreed to submit a request in an official letter to the Prime Minister Al-Kadhimi regarding hosting the Iraq delegation negotiation with the United States of America in the Iraq Parliament during the next few days, to know all the details of what happened between the Iraq and American side, and to know that Washington has not made an explicit request to withdraw its forces according to the decision of the Iraqi Parliament. So that's basically what it is. The Parliament, which is vastly controlled by the biggest voting bloc, is in control by Iranian puppets. This is why they're being nosy. They want to make sure that America is out of there. That's not going to happen, I can tell you that. They might reduce the number of forces that are there, but Kurdistan doesn't want them to leave, and I don't believe Al-Kadhimi wants them out of there 100% neither. Saleh calls for activating the outcomes of the International Donors Conference in Kuwait for the reconstruction of Iraq. Well, yeah. So before, again, I think a lot of countries are saying the same thing. Look, we don't mind donating billions of dollars for you guys to rebuild, as long as we get in on the action. But here's the thing. What good is it if we give you all this money and you still have corruption there, you still have protesters there, people want to feel secure about their investments. So look forward to that. All right. So on Sunday, the president of the republic called for activating the outcome of the International Donors Conference in Kuwait for the reconstruction of Iraq. This should have been done last year. We were waiting for them to start reconstruction in July. Now, don't get me wrong, some of it's going. The electric grid is a huge part of this, and it was much needed. So it might have been a good thing that there was a slight delay, because, the electric grid is going to help them out tons. So, in a statement on the sidelines of his reception in the Kuwait Foreign Ministry, there's a long name there that I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce. Iraq is keen on establishing strong relations with Kuwait based on the fraternal ties and the historic ties that link the two brotherly people. Well, yeah, we know the advanced stages that the two countries made in cooperation and work. So good. Look, I know Kuwait was one of the countries that talked about supplying energy to Iraq so they can get away from Iran even more and more. This is good. So let these two continue to talk and let's get going. Al-Kadhimi shows the red eye of the escaped militia and joined operations for the first time, issuing a strong worded statement against the Katasha launchers, whatever. On Saturday, joint operations promised to pursue those involved in firing 2 missiles. Okay, so 2 missiles were fired at the Taji camp. Nobody was killed, but this particular camp is where the Iraqi forces are staying. Again, I think this is just a show of ISIS just rattling a few cages to let people remember that they're still there. Again, what's important about this most of all to me is Iraq has got to start standing up, and they have to get in there and show that they can handle this kind of stuff if they truly want their sovereignty. It is important. So let's keep an eye on that and see what happens. Let's see. Academia. Iraq faces great challenges, and we have plans to overcome it. The same thing as we always read: security, health, economic, sovereignty, safety for the citizens. We've heard these before. Al-Fatah, an economic catastrophe that will take place unless the budget is sent by the government to Parliament within 2 weeks. So, 2 weeks. We need to get them there. Wow, what's in 2 weeks? Well, we're almost to the end of June, and we know that Iraq has talked about having a bi-yearly budget. So the second half, I would imagine, needs to get there so they can figure out where they are. The Al-Fatah coalition, led by Amiri, warned of an economic collapse that will take place in the country unless the budget is sent by the government to Parliament within 2 weeks. The government is obligated to present the budget within the next 2 weeks in advance, with the previous parliamentary decision to compel the government to send a budget no later than the end of this month for discussions and pass. Otherwise, economic collapse will occur. All right, so we're going to keep an eye on that. So, again, there's just a lot going on between Kurdistan and the delegations. There's a lot going on with what it is that the Iraqi people need. We do know this. Kuwait is getting in on this. So is Saudi Arabia. Okay, we know that. The one article I wanted to quickly find and talk about, because some of them came out a little bit later on. So, yeah, they agreed, by the way, they passed a law saying they're allowed to borrow internally 40 trillion Iraqi dinars and externally $5 billion. Let's avoid borrowing as much as possible from outside to keep it all inside. In support of Al-Qadimi's government, Saudi Arabia returns its ambassador to Baghdad. So again, Saudi Arabia getting in on this. These are big friends of Trump to a degree. So Saudi Arabia and Kuwait getting there. They have the money to help rebuild Iraq, which I think Trump's administration would prefer more than Iran getting in there or China. Okay, so real quick, where you at? So look again. Here we go. I just want to stress this because this is the most important thing. Look at the president of the republic. To complete victory requires building a sovereign and capable state. This is what I'm talking about. They have to prove to the world that they can stand alone. That's what a true sovereign nation is. To me, this is the biggest obstacle that we have in waiting for the rate change to take place. We need them to be a sovereign nation all over again. So the president is explaining what it is that has to be done. All right. So the president said in his tweet, we remember the respect to the jihad fatwa and the supreme authorities who mobilized the energies of the people in confronting ISIS. Completing the victory requires building a sovereign and capable state that preserves rights and protects its citizens. This is, to me, the biggest key to what's going on over there in Iraq. They seem to be doing that. The corruption is being handled. Laws are being passed. There is now a prime minister with his cabinet. People are doing what they need to do. So are we close? In my opinion, we're very, very close to this finally happening. But I'm just warning people to stay away from all the other nonsense. Not the people themselves, but the nonsense that you hear. Okay? Only just pay attention to what you could read and things that you could validate. Okay? Anyways, I just want to share there's a lot of stuff going on. We knew it was going to be very busy. As a matter of fact, I'm anticipating this next week to be just as busy with the IMF coming in to talk about what they could do to help. Well, I know you are thinking the same thing I am. Change the rate, okay? That would probably be the biggest help to them altogether. Alrighty, you guys, I'll talk to you later. Take it easy.